Good morning. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you all, or you've seen me, I guess, on a Sunday morning. So I hope that you all are doing well and had a good summer. And now we're kind of gearing back into fall and getting ready for school stuff if you haven't already started. Like Holly did last week, I have a couple of announcements too. 412 starts tonight. This is super exciting, and we also have a really special meeting for just 6th grade families at 4, and then 412 will begin at 5:30. There is a sign up. We have to limit the amount of space or spots that we have right now, and so there's a sign up. It went out in our newsletter. It's on our Instagram link tree if you can't find it. But as of right now, we are full. I was just pulling it up and we're full. So if you want to be put on the wait list for tonight, go ahead and send me an email and I will make sure and do that for you. Some people sometimes accidentally sign up twice, and so there might be a spot. So send me an email if you haven't already signed up and you want to come to 412 tonight. If you're in high school though, there is Lighthouse also tonight starting at 7. They're meeting in different areas around the church. There's a sign up for that as well. If you have any questions about that, talk to Isaac. Unfortunately, both of these events were not allowed to serve any type of food, and that is really sad because that food is such a bringing together of people, and that's a huge part of both of those events. I mean, I always serve food at 412, and I know that Lighthouse Homes, that's a huge part of what makes them so homey is that you get a meal. And so my prayer is that we can soon be back into some sort of normalcy in that sense and be able to share a meal together. But for now, this is what we got. Also, I hope that we can see you at church. If you are not coming to church today, I hope that you come next week. We're trying to open up more and more services. There's sign-ups for those as well. So make sure that your parents know how to do that on Realm. And I guess that's it for right now as far as announcements go. I do want to pray for our time together this morning that, that God be present. So pray with me. God, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for this place, and I thank you for this church. I pray that you enter the homes of everyone watching this video this morning or afternoon or whenever, and just that you show your grace to me this morning as I try and bring the word. I pray that you open their hearts and their minds to everything that you have for them to hear this morning. Amen. Okay. If you didn't have a chance to watch church on Sunday last week, I want to show you a really quick video of what was Kim. It's a recording of Kim, and she's talking about Hope Squads. And so I'm going to show you that real quick, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail on that and go on with the lesson.
Hi, my name's Kim Myers, and I'm the family pastor here at St. Andrew. I wanted to let you know about something that our teams are launching in the fall. It's called Hope Squad. Hope Squad is a suicide prevention training. It's in 25 states, over 300 schools. But we're one of the first churches in our country to launch this. Hope Squad helps prevent suicide through education, training, and peer intervention. We're going to have 2 meetings to let our students and families know more about it. September 6th and 13th at 3 p.m. You can register on Realm. This fall, we'll be launching 3 different squads: an elementary squad for our 4th and 5th graders, a middle school squad, and a high school squad. We can only do this because of our generous church family. We are so thankful for all that you do and you give here at St. Andrew, because Hope Squad is going to change lives.
All right, so obviously it's super exciting that we at St. Andrew are able to start a Hope Squad and be one of the first churches in the country to do this. So I don't want to give you a ton of information because obviously that's what those meetings are for, that you sign up for with Kim. But I do want to just kind of give you some stats to kind of give you an understanding of why we're doing this and the importance of this and just how relevant it is for us today. So these are stats from 2018, just because it takes a while for the CDC to get numbers out there. But the 2019 stats will come out at the end of this year and so on. So it seems like it's old news, but it's really still important and relevant information. So in 2018, suicide was the 2nd leading cause of death among youth between ages 10 and 24. So I know you don't think of a 24-year-old as a youth, but if you think about like I mean, more than car accidents, more than like disease, like suicide is the second leading cause of death. So to narrow it down even more, there were 596 deaths by suicides by 10 to 14-year-olds. So in 2018, 596 between 10 and 14-year-olds died by suicide. Then that number jumps drastically for the 15 to 24-year-olds, 6,211. Y'all, that's too many. What's important to know, what we learn about in Hope Squad, is that most suicides are in fact preventable. Youth who are contemplating suicide frequently give warning signs of distress. In fact, 7 out of 10 will tell a friend. So again, I think the 24, it seems so much older than maybe some of you, but if you think about it, a 21-year-old is still in college, right? They're still surrounded by their friends, so they're still going to give their friends warning signs, or they might even tell them that they're struggling. Unfortunately, what tends to happen though is that their friends don't know what to do. They're not trained, they're not counselors. They think that they can just hold on to it and help them in their own way, and so they don't tell anybody, or they don't tell an adult. So this is where Hope Squad comes in. So Hope Squad is a group of students that are nominated by their peers. So it's not something that I decide, oh, I think this person would be really good at this. It's literally, we gather you in a room, you submit names, and then we see the names that are submitted and where some of the names overlap, and you kind of tell us why you think this person would be good. They're nominated because they're good listeners, they're caring, they're seen as overall someone that people like to talk to. So it's maybe not necessarily your best friend, and we'll go into that when we go to these trainings, but I thought that was so funny is that, you know, yeah, maybe my best friend is Jane, but I don't always trust Jane. I don't always go to Jane with things that are important to me. But Sam maybe isn't my best friend, but I know that Sam is a good listener. I know that Sam cares about other people. And so maybe I'm going to nominate Sam. So it's kind of an interesting process, but it's really neat. Once the Hope Squad is nominated and established, they'll be trained on how to recognize suicide warning signs. They'll be trained on how to talk to their peers and how to provide support. So again, you're not a counseling service. You're not a mentor. You're just trained on how to listen and how to talk to them in a way that will send them to an adult. So again, we'll go into all of that as we get into more details with all of this, but I just wanted you to know the importance and how exciting and amazing this is that St. Andrew gets to be one of the first churches to do this. I think what's really cool too is that St. Andrew represents so many different schools from all over the Dallas, Plano, Frisco, Little, we have people everywhere. And so it's really neat. And I know that some Plano schools are starting their own Hope Squads. So how cool would it be if you get to be on both the St. Andrew one and your school one, or one or the other, or, you know, whatever. And so we're really excited about it. And so I hope that you guys take some time, to make some time to attend those meetings. And especially when we start the nomination process, be sure to nominate some people that you think would be good. Okay, so what's really cool too about today is that because we're starting 412, which obviously is directed towards middle school, but the series for this month is actually called Squad Up, and it's all about you know, who's in your squad, and what is a squad, and what does that mean? And obviously it's a lot about friendship, because it's the beginning of the school year, and this tends to be the time when we, especially those big transition grades, the 5th grade to 6th grade jump, or the 8th grade to 9th grade jump, or even the seniors that just graduated that are starting college and meeting new friends. This is really the time where you maybe leave some old friends behind, or you make some new friends, or you tighten the relationships that you already have. This can also be a time where it's really hard. I mean, maybe summer was really, especially this past summer, was maybe really hard for you, and you lost some friendships, or you lost communication with people because you weren't seeing them all the time, or maybe friendships moved on. And so it's really hard to kind of navigate this area of friendships and the idea of like who's in your squad. I mean, a squad is so important in these aspects of your life. I think it's especially relevant, again, like I said, when you're in those big transition grades. It's also when you're in a new school, or in a new church, or in a new place. I know some of you have moved schools even, or you maybe are going from you were obviously all virtual in the spring, and now you're choosing to stay virtual for the fall. And so maybe you won't even get to see those friends that you had. And so it's just this really hard kind of transition. The focus though for us is that how can your church family be its own squad, right? I look especially at the class that just graduated, the seniors that just graduated. You know, it's one of those things they would post, and this isn't all of them, it's really just kind of a small group of them, but they would post all these pictures and they would do so much stuff together. And I looked at them and I thought, that's so interesting. Like literally of this group of people, they're from different schools, one, but two, like there was never a non-St. Andrew person in these pictures, meaning their squad was their church group. Like that was their core group. And it was just really neat to see that tight-knitness and knowing that they were all St. Andrew people, right? And so I challenge you in this time to kind of figure out who can be your St. Andrew squad, right? Who can be this group of people for you. I do want to say, and I kind of alluded at this when I started this conversation, was squads change and it's okay and it's healthy, and the best friends that you have now might not be your best friends at the end of the year. Maybe they are, maybe next year it changes, but just know it is so important. It is actually healthy, I think, for groups to kind of mesh and change, and your squad to kind of change a little bit. I'm older than you, but I'm not near anywhere the end of my life, hopefully, right? And so even now, the group that I have, we have been friends for a long time. But you know, there were squads that I've had in my past that have changed. I'm going to show you kind of some funny pictures from my past, and if you come to 412 tonight, you'll just see them again, but that's fine. Okay, so this first one is my camp squad. So I was probably in middle school, and y'all, these girls were my people, and every single summer we would go to the same camp and we would look for each other. We were always in the same cabin. It was glorious and amazing, and it was so much fun. And if you're a camp person, you know what I'm talking about. I'm over there on the side with the white t-shirt and the black shorts. But again, eventually, you know, I got to high school and I didn't go to camp anymore. I mean, I got into other things, and so I really don't keep in touch with those people anymore. But for that moment and for that time in my life, they were so integral and so huge as far as developing my faith and keeping me accountable, and holding me together. This next picture is from, I was more of an adult, I guess, at this point in my life. But it was at a camp in South Carolina called Canoga, and it's an Episcopal Conference Center, and it's the same thing. It was one of those things I would go once a year and I would see these people, and they were from all over the place, and we would just reconnect like no time had passed. Well, eventually I left the church I was working for, and so I don't get to go to that conference anymore. And there are definitely moments where I get really sad and I miss them, and I think where they are, and if we got back together, would the same people be there? And probably not, right? But the point is that in that time frame in my life, those people were so huge, and they were friends, but they were my church core, right? Those are those people that, again, that challenged me in my faith and that pushed me. Moving on, this next one is actually I worked for a church before St. Andrew. And this was just a group of high schoolers that we took on a mission trip. And it's funny because they're high school, right? And at this point, I'm probably 24, so I'm not that much older than them, truly. And so I thought of them as my squad as well. And I think there's a point even now where it's just a little bit different because I am older than I obviously was then. But I think of those people, even though they're younger than me, as part of my church squad, because they kept me accountable, and they challenged me, and they made me want to be a better person. So then now in life, and again, I don't see them as much anymore because now they're graduated, or they're doing their own thing. They have jobs. They're adults now too. But this is my squad now. So this is our team. This is our family ministry team. And some of us hang out outside of church, and some of us, we just really work together. But these are the people that are my people now, right? And again, the point of this, and I'm showing you all of this to say, is that your squads will mesh and change, and warp into different things. But what you have to keep in mind is that who are those people that are keeping you strong in your faith. And even if they change, making sure that you still have a group, right? So even if it's not the group that you had before, making sure to still have someone or a group of people that hold you accountable and that challenge you in your faith. Okay. I want to read to you from Ephesians. So this is in the New Testament. And I'm going to just read one little piece and stop for a second and talk about it. So Ephesians, literally chapter 1, verse 1. I'm going to skip a little bit, but it says, I am writing to God's holy people in Ephesus who are faithful followers of Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is Paul writing to the people of Ephesus, hence they're called the Ephesians. But I want you to think about or maybe you haven't thought about this before, but the church as we know it now didn't always exist, right? The church wasn't established actually until after Jesus left. That was part of his challenge to them as he ascended into heaven, as he said, go spread the good news and build the church. And so the New Testament is them getting started. There was nothing already established for them to kind of work with. They're all trying to figure out what to do. Some of them knew Jesus personally, and some of them are having to just spread the word and hope that they're doing it right. The other thing to keep in mind is that these are people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different socioeconomic statuses. So, I think them getting along could have been challenging sometimes. Just like today, getting along with a different group of people can be hard, right? What's interesting too is that Paul, the guy who's writing this letter, if you remember anything about Paul, before he was Paul, he was Saul, and he actually persecuted Jesus. And so I think the other thing to keep in mind is that if there is someone that you see that maybe you think there's no way this person can be my friend, there's no way this person can be part of my squad, they're just not a good person, you just never know what the Lord can do in that person's life, just like they did with Paul. So the other thing, so again, he said to God's holy people. And so I thought that was really cool because again, like the church is just getting started. And so Paul has this incredible faith in this group of people that they're strong Christians and they're strong believers. The other thing to keep in mind in this time is that usually when someone would write like Paul would write a letter to the church, not everyone could read. Not everyone knew how to read. And so one person that could read would maybe read the letter. Everyone would kind of sit around and listen. They didn't have church buildings, so they're meeting in people's homes. So they're like in kind of a space like this. They're all huddled together. They're all listening to the person reading the letter, just kind of absorbing everything and taking it all in, which is kind of cool. So moving on down in Ephesians 2. Okay. I want to read you a little piece. So still chapter 1, this is verse 4. Even before he made the world, God loved us and chose us in Christ to be holy and without fault in his eyes. God decided in advance to adopt us into his own family by bringing us to himself through Jesus Christ. This is what he wanted to do, and it gave him great pleasure. So imagine again, you're huddled around, you can't read, so you're just listening, and you hear those words. You hear that encouragement that before God made the world that he loved you and he chose you and he wants, there's no fault in you in his eyes. Like that's so encouraging and so nice. And you're surrounded by people that are hearing the exact same message. And so I just thought that was really neat. Moving on down to verse 15. Ever since I heard of your strong faith in the Lord and your love for God's people everywhere, I have not stopped thanking God for you. Again, this is so encouraging, right? Like Paul has, obviously the way these people are acting is being, the message is being sent back to Paul. And so he's hearing, and so that's so encouraging for them. I pray for you constantly, asking God for the glorious Father of our Lord Jesus Christ to give you spiritual wisdom and insight so that you might grow in your knowledge of God. So he's so encouraging to them, which is really neat. So I think, again, the point of all of this is that we all want to be a part of something. We all want to be a part of a family, which we can. We're invited to be part of this God squad. Sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. We're invited to be part of God's squad. Part of what we can do when we are in this squad that is the church is we pray for each other. Our faith will grow together and that we are one body. So part of being part of this squad is coming to church, y'all. Like student ministry is the one ministry that is being allowed to gather together again. I think we all have a new perspective and appreciation for our friends and our community in the midst of COVID when we've been so isolated and separated. 412, we will gather together. I mean, we'll be really spread out, but we'll gather together, and then we're actually going to meet into little small groups, really small groups. And they'll change every week, so you're not stuck with whoever for that week. But I really challenge you, if you're coming tonight, to kind of be open and be ready to meet new people and be ready to share and be open to what God has to do for you. Especially if you're coming to Lighthouse as well, same thing, that little group. And you're not, especially week 1, you don't have to, obviously, you visit. The idea, I think, in the first couple weeks is that you visit a couple different groups, and then you kind of decide which one really works for you. But once you establish your group and you decide this is the house that you want to join, then dive in, y'all. Those are going to be your people. That's going to be your squad, your church squad that will be there to support you in the rest of your time in this youth group. So if you're in middle school, then you have lots of time, which is super exciting. Anyway, so yeah, I hope to see y'all tonight. I hope that you are doing well. We miss you. If you have any questions about tonight, feel free to reach out to us. If you need prayer, if you're really interested in Hope Squad and you want more information before those info meetings, then definitely reach out to us, and we'll see you soon. Bye.